So students, today we start with chapter atom. In this chapter we discuss the different theories in order to understand the concept of atom. So first of all, in 1898, starting with Thomson model, and this theory is suggested by in 1898 by scientist Thomson. And in this theory, scientist Thomson suggests atom is a spherical shell and entire space is filled by positive charge particles. So he considered atom as spherical. This is the first key point. And entire space filled with positive ions. And electrons are embedded like a seed in watermelon. If we cut the watermelon, so we see the seeds. So here electrons are embedded like a seed in watermelon. That is why this model is also known as plum pudding model. Because this is like a sweet. So negative charges are embedded like a seed in watermelon. So overall, the distribution of positive and negative charge in such a way so that total positive charge is to be neutralized with total amount of negative charge. So this theory suggests complete atom is to be neutral. Okay. So this is the first theory given by scientist Thomson. And there are some drawbacks regarding this theory. So if we go to drawbacks, so this is the first drawback. He could not explain the stability of atom. Explain about stability. Second thing, he could not explain the large angle scattering. And third thing, he could not explain the spectral series of hydrogen atom. So because of these three drawbacks, he could not explain the stability of atom, large angle scattering given by Rutherford, and spectral series of hydrogen atom. That is why this theory is to be discarded, because it is not fit for everywhere in order to understand the concept of atom. So later on, scientist Rutherford explained the theory regarding model atom, and some of the drawback is to be removed. Okay. So next we come to Rutherford model. So if we talk about the second one model, this is Rutherford. So in junior classes we have already studied about the Rutherford model. Now we discuss this model in brief. So as we know, in this model, alpha particles are scattered through a gold foil. Then there are some observation. When alpha particles strike to gold foil, then what we have to see? So scientist Rutherford observed some phenomena. Number one, most of the alpha particles passes through the gold foil. Okay. This shows entire space of the atom is to be blank or filled. Second, very few alpha particles make large angle scattering. That means when alpha particles passes through the gold foil, some of them makes large angle when it passes through the atom. Similarly, very few alpha particles makes small angle scattering. Okay, so very few, that means some of them it makes small angle. And last one, fourth one, conclusion. Only 1 in 10,000. Okay, only 1 in 10,000 retrace of its original path. And this is the very important one observation. So fourth one, only 1 in 10,000 again retrace of its original path. This shows center part of the atom having positive charge, that is why alpha particles have positive charge and nucleus have also positive charge. So between positive and positive there is a repulsion. So this shows nucleus is at the center. So fourth one, even alpha particle passes through this gold foil, so again it retraces, that means it revert back because of alpha particle having positive charge and nucleus is also positive. So between positive and positive charge there is a repulsion. So due to this repulsion it again return back, and this verifies center part of the atom is made by a positive charge and it is said to be nucleus. If we talk about the second and third one, it makes large angle scattering and small angle. So nearby the center line, so what we have to see here, as distance increase, suppose this is first line, this is second one and third one. So as distance from the center line, so what we observe, as distance increase, first it makes an angle more than 90 degree, then more the distance increase, then again angle is to be reduced, that means less than 90 degree. Okay, so this is the basic observation made by Rutherford, and on behalf of this verify nucleus, concept of nucleus, and he also defines the distance of closest approach, how much center at center line alpha particle, how much distance is to be traveled during the repulsion. Okay, and on the basis of this we also Rutherford also plot one graph between number of alpha particles scattered to n. So what we have to see, the graph, if we take the scattering angle versus angle, so graph is like this away. This also shows number of scattered particles is inversely proportional to 1 upon fourth power of sin theta. Okay, so when we plot the graph, this is the actual pattern. Okay, and this verifies scattering angle versus how many number of particles scattered through the gold coin. Okay, next we come to distance of closest approach. So this is very important term here, distance of closest approach. And on the basis of this identity, we have to do numericals. So first we see what is the meaning of this distance of closest approach. So as we see, when central and when alpha particles strike to head-on collision to the nucleus, that means at central part. Okay, then in this situation it revert back. Okay, because of repulsion. Okay. So this is the major word. Now, when alpha particle is very close to the nucleus, so at a certain distance, if we define, suppose this is the distance up to which again alpha particle return back because of larger repulsion between nucleus and alpha particles. So up to this distance, if suppose alpha particle revert back, so this distance is defined here, distance of closest approach. Okay. That means the minimum distance up to which alpha particles close to the nucleus. After that, it again revert, or we can say retrace. So in this situation, when alpha particles close to the nucleus, that means it has some kinetic energy because of movement of alpha particles, and after a certain distance it again return back. So in this situation what we see, now position of alpha particle is to be changed. So we may conclude that here entire kinetic energy is to be converted into potential energy, because energy is always conserved, neither we create nor we destroy, it converts from one form to another one. So entire kinetic energy of alpha particle is to be converted into potential. So as we know, kinetic energy is to be defined by half mv square, and this equals to potential energy. This is k q1 q2 upon r square from chapter electrostatic. This is the potential energy. If you put the values, so half mv square, this is kinetic energy, k is constant, q1, this is the charge of first particle. So if you talk about the alpha particles, so alpha particle having charge twice of electron, second one q2 charge, so q2 is here nucleus, that is Ze, so q2 is to be replaced by Ze and divided by distance. So here distance of closest approach is to be defined by r naught. So this is r naught square. Okay. If we simplify this equation, in order to find the distance, that is r naught. So if we calculate here r naught from this equation, so r naught is equals to k 2 Ze square divided by kinetic energy term. So this is the expression for distance of closest approach. Why this we easily find out on putting the value of k. K is here 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught. This is equal to 9 into 10 raised to power 9. Second 2 is numerical number. Ze, this is nucleus. Kinetic energy we easily calculate via knowing mass and velocity and charge of electron. Charge of electron E is to be replaced by 1.6 into 10 raised to power minus 90 coulomb. So on putting all the values, we get the at how much distance alpha particle is to be returned back. Okay. So next, third one we come to Bohr's model. So scientist Bohr suggests again explanation of atom, and 99% it is to be fit in order to explain the complete atom. Okay, so this theory have three postulates. Number one, according to Bohr, electrons are revolving around the nucleus in a circular orbit. Okay, so electron is always around the nucleus at a circular orbit, and here whenever electron moves in circular orbit, so we require here two forces. First one is the force between nucleus and electron. Okay, this is called here electrostatic force. And in order to move on this circle, one more force is to be there. This is called centripetal force, Fc. So electrostatic force is to be balanced by Fc. That is why this electron is to be moved in this stationary orbit without falling on the nucleus. So electrostatic force, this is K, Q1, Q2 upon R square, and this equals to centripetal force, this is mv square upon R. Okay. If you replace the value Q1 and Q2, so K, Q1 is to be electron, Q2 is to be here nucleus, R square, and this equals to mv square by R. So this is the first identity, or we can say first postulates of Bohr's. The state electrons always moves in circular orbit, and force, electrostatic force, is to be balanced by centripetal. Next we come to second one postulates of Bohr. So second one postulate state that electrons are revolving only those orbits. Okay, as we know there are different shells, S, P, D, as per the configuration 2, 8, 18 and so on. So electrons are revolving only those particular orbits which having angular momentum. So angular momentum means here L, this equals to mv and R. So electrons are revolving only particular those orbits which having angular momentum value h upon 2 pi multiple with n. Here n belongs to integer. Okay, so electron revolve करेगा किसमें? Only those which having angular momentum nh by 2 pi. Here h is Planck constant, n this belongs to integer, and pi remains 3.14 or 22 by 7. Okay. Third one, if you go to third one, so this is the second one identity which we are used during the numerical. Third one, if we go to third one, so third one postulates based on transition of electron. If we define two energy levels, E1 and E2. E1 means ground state, that is lower state, and E2 means here excited state. Okay. So according to Bohr, when an electron jumps from higher energy level to lower, that means E2 to E1, then it emits a photon. E is equals to h nu in terms of light. Okay, that is why we find some lines during the spectrum. So if you write the equation E2 minus E1, and this difference is equal to h nu, say equation number 1. Similarly, when an electron jumps from lower to higher, that means E1 to E2. Okay, so because of lower state, it required some energy. That means it absorbed one photon. Okay, because now electron goes from lower state to higher, So at lower state it required some energy, that is why it absorbed the photon, and this is the difference. When electron jumps from higher to lower, in this situation it emits one photon. So if we write again E1 minus E2, so this equals to further h nu, but here absorb the photon. Okay. So on behalf of these three equations, scientist Bohr calculate when an electron revolve around the nucleus. He calculate the velocity, first one. Second one, how much radius of this orbit. Third one, during the motion of electron, how much kinetic energy and potential energy of electron. Okay. And during the transition, when electron jumps from higher to lower or lower to higher, so why spectral lines is to be arises. So all the parameters, velocity, radius, energy and spectral lengths is to be explained by scientist Bohr.